Hello, I am making a YouTube video about what I think Katie Hopkins, and as we all know, she is really opinionated. She does not like the name Tyler or Chardonnay. She thinks it's okay to call people and kids overweight. No, I'm sorry, fat. And she dislikes tattoos. And I've also been listening to her talk in lots of different shows and interviews as well. And what I tend to find with Katie is, and it used to make me laugh a little on this morning when she'd have her opinion on when she'd get to say what she wanted to say, and Phil had to be like, Katie, calm down. So, because she does get fired up, and when she gets in the debate with people, I have noticed that sometimes she has made it a little bit personal. But at the same time, I have also noticed interviews as well where Katie has actually not lost her cool, but the person next to her has, and the person next to her is actually insulting her. So, and which is kind of interesting, is because Katie is a strong personality, and if you tangle with her, it depends who you are and what is your personality to be able to tangle with her. Katie, I'm sure, is a nice person underneath all this armour that she goes about wearing every day to armour up and get through each day. But in actual fact, that is what Katie has chosen to do. She has chosen to armour up. She has chosen to toughen up. So in actual fact, what she has done or is doing is not letting nobody see her for who she actually is. And what I mean is, for me to be able to connect with you, I have to be vulnerable. I have to show you something of me that I feel you can connect to. And in order to do that, it takes huge courage and huge bravery too. And I think, and this is what happens with stronger personalities, is they tend to see emotion and a big vulnerability leap as a sign of weakness. Now, I'm not too sure if this has ever been discussed with Katie, but I am sure that she would see that as a weakness. But I'm using that based on what I know about her. As far as I understand, she has told people openly that if we lived in a world of equal rights, not all of us would be able to handle it. And I want us to take pause with that just for a moment and think about what she actually means. Because in her head, to have equal opportunities as everybody else, there has to be no special treatment. There has to be no special treatment for nobody. Everyone is on the same playing field. If that happened in the world today, I think Katie Hopkins would say the world is fair. But in her head, because this world is tough and it's not fair and it is harsh, and because of that, she's made the choice to armor up, and this is why I sometimes have a little bit of a problem with her. Yes, she is entitled to have her own opinions. She can have as many opinions as she wants. She can have her say as much as she wants as well. Or one, I think she needs to be a little bit respectful at times. And I mean, don't call people fat. Okay, because that is a word used to describe a person who is overweight. And by using the overweight word, I think that he delivers less harsh. Okay, with Katie, I do agree that slimmer is better, and you have lots of health benefits as well. But how she goes about living her message, at times I do have a little bit of a problem with. But different people respond better with different people, like different personalities. I am a kind person. I would consider myself as a kind person, and I would never say you are fat. And in actual fact, what she has mentioned in a clip of this morning is she would tell a person they are overweight. No, they are fat, and this is why she's not employing them in her business. Now, in actual fact, in this world, we have laws, we have disability laws, we have all sorts of laws, basically discrimination laws as well. So if to openly come out of that, I'm thinking that she's actually opening herself up to lots of things perhaps coming crashing down on top of her, because as a business, most people, if they see that you are overweight and they do think this person can't carry out the tasks as smaller size can, they won't employ you. But what they will do is they will say, no, thank you, somebody else has applied for the job and I'm very sorry, or it depends on the person who is giving that person that call back, or sometimes they don't even call you back and you have to ask, why can I get that job? But they're never going to say it's because you are fat. they might be thinking it in their heads, but they cannot say these things, because if they did, they could hide up with lots of laws on top of them. So I'd say, as a business woman as well, you need to protect yourself too. And these are issues that I'm thinking all the time when I'm listening to Katie. Again, with tattoos, it is a very, very personal choice. And if you have one or two or however many you want, it is your choice at the end of the day. But especially younger people, I would urge them to think about it. Think about, is this what they really, really want? Because if they have a tattoo all the way across their arm, it's always going to be there. They're going to look at it all the time. And it's art, yes, it is art. It's a way to express yourself. And at times, if I do see a man or a woman with a tattoo that I think is nice, I say, oh, what's that tattoo about? I see it has a dragon on or whatever, and I'll ask them to explain it to me. But I would never ever say the sorts of things that Katie Hopkins is telling other people. Not necessarily because I am a kind and a nice-ish person, but I think that you have to respect other people and respect that they have an opinion and a view to do whatever they want to their bodies. But if a person, if someone has decided to tattoo their whole face, for example, and I see them, like if it's late at night or something, and say if it is a tall, butch man, he would scare me. He would. I mean, he could be a lovely person, but it's sort of again that first impression thing that you need to, because we do live in a world that's really judgmental, that is really harsh, and I think we just find ways to learn to live in it. And I think for me, I just accept it as it is, and I don't challenge it. I don't challenge the rules and things, but I will comply with them. I will make sure I don't overstep them, because I am aware that Katie has offended quite a lot of the population, but who really wants all that, the weight of that on their shoulders? No one, not really. Even Simon Cowell, and even when he first did X Factor, I think we all complained that he was harsh and he was this, but I do find with Katie, she does get to the nitty gritty things of being personal, and 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 it is half of what she is saying. It is what most of us think in our heads, but we're not going to say it. But there's a reason, and I think some of us don't want the abuse that comes with it. And at the same time, what kind of really annoys me is if she has said something that's a bit personal, that's a bit off, she will not apologise, and if she has, she's gonna be like, I don't care, call me horse face. I know, say I have a big nose, that in her head, if we insult her, that's it, she's insulted us and we've insulted her. No, I don't like that attitude. I don't like that approach. I don't want to insult Katie. I actually don't. I do find that some things that she does come out with tends to make me angry and a bit, fired up over what she has said, like over a named Hyla. I'm thinking, well, people can, like as I've made another video, people can get their names changed. They can go to the office and call themselves Lucy or Victoria or Christopher. A name to me doesn't define who you are. I think with me, you have to look at the child's behaviours and then decide, do I want this kid hanging out with my kid? I have people in my work who I would say I get on with everybody, but I'm sure not everybody likes me. I mean, even growing up, people have at times just taken an instant dislike to me. It's like, okay, well, I'm doing nothing to you, but and sometimes I might get hurt about it, or these days I don't care what people down the road or at work think of me, to a point, especially if it's like manager or something, but at the same time you have to respect other people's, and you've got to have boundaries. I was always the sort of person who bullied, picked on at schools, and even then it didn't stop. Sometimes it happened in the line of work that I was in, and in actual fact, bullying never stops. It never goes away. I remember, was it last year now or the year before last, and because I have a speech impediment, which I'm sure that you would have picked up on, I was at the bakery, which was I actually do tend to have low blood sugar, so I went to the bakery to get a donut, and for some reason I just had a problem saying the word donut. I don't know why, don't ask me why. And next to me there's a mother and a young kid, a young boy, and he turns around and goes, he actually takes the mick out of me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, me at that age, I would never do anything to someone twice my age and higher than me, but he did. And his mum was shocked. She was absolutely shocked and mortified. She said, apologise. I knew he didn't mean it, because well, I just got the feeling in here, but it also made me feel uncomfortable. And in actual fact, I know when people do tend to pick me upon my talking, I know how to correct myself. It's just the same when I know I'm overweight, not fat, overweight. I do know what I need to do to get down to the size that I need to be. I mean, I have a wedding coming up, and I want to look gorgeous. So, but I think with Katie, she just speaks her mind. She says it as it is. It's like calling a spade a spade, and at times there could be a million other ways to say what she needs to say, but Katie will go for the harshest. But that's how she's somehow made herself famous because of it. So we do expect it of her. And at times when I've listened to something or some interview, you just hear a gasp around the audience. Because these are things that you would not say at all, and as she has mentioned, that people have come up to her and said, we all think the same as you, but we don't say these things out loud. And I think there's a reason for that as well. And I know that when I was younger, I did like freedom of speech, and I would mention something. I mentioned something in front of my mum or my sister, and I might mention it in a pub. Now there could be someone sat behind me listening to this conversation and think she's been awful. So in actual fact, they have said, Katie, don't say this, don't say that, because in actual fact they are looking out for me. The thing is, you cannot have freedom of speech completely and think it's all going to be a good thing. Stupid thing is, with Katie's only recently come out. I mean, 2, 3 or 4 years ago, I've never heard of her. It's only been in the past year that she has come out with these comments and these thoughts and opinions. Some of them, as I say, I do agree with. But at the same time, she comes across as a very strong personality, and it's up to you whether you choose to tangle with her or not. But if you do, one thing I will say is, you better have a sharp tongue, quick tongue, because I know that I would not be able to do that and keep my cool, because if she said something insensitive to me, it might hurt. But if it kept on and on and on, if you think of a pig, okay, think of a pig and it's in a cage, and instead of someone picking up something to hit it with, like how that pig, he's overweight, he's fat, he's useless, he's thick, he can't do this, he can't do that, you'll never make a name for yourself, that type of thing. Or these are all the negative things we hear in our own heads, and the last thing we need is another person to telling us all this. So it is mental abuse at the same time. And then when that pig goes mad, it's the pig's fault. But if you use that same scenario again and say someone has actually picked up something and has hit it and has attacked it, and then when it retaliates, it's more in the, it's more understandable. Or there is physical torture and there's mental torture, and I think all the things we tend to think in our heads, that we tend to say to ourselves, the negative thoughts, I mean, if we listen to these thoughts all the time, we'd never do anything at all, and the last thing we need is another person out there saying we are useless, that we would not employ you because you are overweight, no, fat, and you're like, well, I do know that, but that's just made you angry, and you can take it up with, and if you are in a business with Katie Hopkins, she would be upon lots of different charges and discrimination acts too. So I like her. I'm not saying I agree with her thoughts and opinions all the time, but I do find there is something about it that I do like. So when she does say she is best described as Marmite, it's like there's black and there's white. There's lots of black and white thinking going on, but I am someone who will look to see if there's any cracks, any greys in between. If someone has done a wrong thing, but they've done a wrong thing for the right reasons, I can see past that. Yes, they were in the wrong, they should not have done what they did. That part is not excusable, or I can understand why they've done what they've actually done. And when she talks about equal rights, she has mentioned that not everyone will be able to handle it. I think I did mention this, didn't I, that to her, if it was fair, if life was fair, we'd all be on a clean playing field, and there would be no special treatment, there'd be no benefits, there'd be no discrimination acts, all the things that are put in place right now are to protect us, actually. And if you want to be treated the same as everybody else, you have got to expect that things are gonna get tough. They are gonna get tougher, and not all of us, myself included. I mean, I'd like to think, yes, let's have equal rights for all of us, but it depends what that equal right is, because I know that I wouldn't be able to handle certain situations as best as Katie could or can, and I just think there are certain people in this world who are good at certain things to make a difference in this world, to do something extraordinary, You know, I mean, I am one to go along with these rules that we have, until someone comes along and takes a stand and runs for Parliament. I mean, it's like with Tony Blair. I did read in the paper, was it last year now, that the population are blaming him for lots of different things, but we are the ones who voted for him. We are the ones who put him in charge, and now, yes, we are complaining because of the changes he has made. So I think when you elect someone to be in charge, you have to know what they stand for, who they stand against, and what are the pros and cons, and then you weigh it up and make an informed decision of who you're actually going to back up. Is it the Labour? Is it the Conservatives? Is it something completely different? So as it comes to, again, we all need to make our own decisions and choices in this life. What is right for me might not be right for another person. And I what was Katie talking about? She was talking about something in an interview. That was it. She was talking about her daughter and her son. I think she's got 3 kids. I can't remember all their names, but the 2 that come to my mind is India and Hoppy. And I remember in an interview when she turned around and actually said that Poppy bought some shoes to wear to school, and these shoes turned out to actually be men's shoes, and the kids at school, you know, they took the mick and that. But that Katie said in the interview that her daughter turned around and actually said, these are my shoes, are on my feet, so 2-1 basically. And in actual fact, how Katie explained how her daughter handled the situation, it was actually done quite a